Hey, what's going on, guys? This is AndrewChicken, and welcome back to another video. This is everything you need to know about the Wild Hoard update. Let's go. First up, there's a new event pass with 36 levels instead of the traditional 30, meaning you get even more loot out of this event pass, but it is still the same price. And all the loot has now been randomized in terms of the order in which you unlock it, because all of the stuff comes from chests now. And here are the new skins. We have we have Grovos, whose forehead is a bit goofy, as well as Chaos Grovos, both of which are pretty cool looking Grover skins. And then we have the brand new Omen skins, where we have Frostborn Jace and Flameborn Jace. So dragon skins for Omen as well, both of which look pretty sick. There's also one more skin this update. We got Cactus frickin' McCoy in here. We got Bizarre Strix, and oh my god. This was the mystery skin of the update, and my goodness, this is amazing. There's also one new chest which I want to point out specifically because there's something very interesting about it. This is the Omega Artifacts chest, which has most of the Omega skins, including the Omega Imani skin, which, as you might know, is infamously the most expensive skin in the game, at, I believe, 2,400 crystals, and you can get it from this chest for just 400. So, hey, bear that in mind. Now, if you want to buy any of the new skins in this update, then make sure to get some crystals over at my Nexus. Nexus.gg/AndrewChicken, officially partnered with Evil Mojo. Here you can buy crystals, DLC, mount bundles, all of that wonderful stuff, and you can support me directly in the process. It's a great way to support your favorite creator, including myself or anyone else who has a Nexus, and so yeah, make sure to check that out. Let's get back to the video. Trials of the Realm are back, and they have a brand new and very nice looking UI. We have the quests here, actually in the same page as Trials of the Realm. They got an update as well, looking pretty sick. And Trials of the Realm are a little bit different. So we have Temple Isles, which is actually a completionist set. So if you complete all of the challenges, you get a bunch of extra stuff, including the We're So Buck limited title. There's also a matching It's So Grover title somewhere in the trials here. But yeah, they still unlock on a weekly basis, and you don't need tickets for them anymore. They just unlock, and then you can do these at your leisure, and you won't get stuck on any particular set of trials anymore like you did in the past. So, really happy to see these are back. Quests are always a good thing, and a lot of rewards as well. The mode rotation this time around is Siege, Onslaught, and Payload. So Payload is back for the start of the year. Absolutely happy to see that. But we also have some new limited time modes that I want to point out. We have Beyond, which is Siege Beyond from Season 5, coming back as a limited time mode. Just a regular limited time mode, but both modes of Beyond have been smashed into one. So you get the item shop and you get the payload at the same time. Looks to be pretty interesting. We also have Old School, which is a special Abyss limited time mode where you have a bunch of extra power-ups throughout the map, like credits, jump height, movement speed, ultimate, all of this wonderful stuff. And last, there is Bizarre Bazaar, which I got to play on the PTS. Very interesting game mode. Basically, the Siege map Bazaar is transformed into an Onslaught map, so that's pretty cool as well. Make sure to try these limited time modes out, they look to be pretty fun. Real quick before we check out the Primal Court rework, I can also point out that there are now 9 loadout slots instead of the normal 6, so massive upgrade, really happy to see that. But yeah, Primal Court got its map details restored from back in the purge of all the maps in the open beta when this game was being ported to Switch. So as you can see, there's now a bunch of extra foliage. It's turned into a jungle again. Thank goodness, this map felt so barren when it got all its details removed, and this looks absolutely wonderful. Alright, let's crack on with the main event of this update, the item store rework. As you can see, we have 4 new items, as well as a bunch of reworks to existing items. So let's rapid fire these and talk about what's new. Chronos and Morale Boost are not new. They have stayed exactly the same, no changes whatsoever. Master Writing, Nimble, Veteran, Deft Hands, Lethality, and Wrecker have all gotten slightly cheaper. However, Life Rip has gotten more expensive, as well as Rejuvenate. Rejuvenate only got the price nerf. Life Rip, however, got more expensive because it now has double the scaling, up to 60%, which is pretty cool. There's also a rework to basically every single blue item in the game. So we have Unbound, which is basically resilience, but without any form of reduction towards slows, knockups, and knockbacks. That has been removed and switched on over to Sentinel, which is the brand new, or one of the brand new items. This item will reduce the effectiveness of slows, knockups, and knockbacks by 25%, so they've done a split to the CC reduction to help make champions with knockups and knockbacks a little bit more impactful. And this item also gives you a 150 health shield for 5 seconds on elimination, up to 450 health. So this is also a weird way to get a form of kill to heal, except it's kill to shield, and it can actually give you more max health if you're already at full health when this item procs. So it's a pretty interesting item. Next up, we have an armor split between armor plating and arcane warding. So Haven has gotten split up as well. Now it's a in-hand weapon versus ability damage item split. So you can buy armor plating and reduce the damage you take from in-hand weapons by up to 24%. For example, on Octavia here, that would be her rifle. Boom, 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 boom. However, if I buy arcane warding, I will take even further damage reduction, up to 36% damage reduction from abilities. So that would be Octavia's Creeping Barrage. Whew, I was about to say, did I really just miss that? Now, there are some weird edge cases for these items. For example, on Leon here, you would assume that this, and this are all reduced by arcane warding because they're her abilities. But actually, they're all reduced by armor plating because, well, all of these count as weapon shots. You can tell because they apply Cauterize. And they also get affected by damage boosts as well as life rip. So, yeah, all of these are actually weapon shots. And this item treats them exactly the same way as they are treated by items like Life Rip and Wrecker. So it's pretty intuitive if you know that about Leon, but if you didn't know that about Leon, well, now you know. And some abilities just serve to modify your existing weapon shots. For example, Drogo's Salvo modifies his rockets, but this would still be countered by armor plating, because at the end of the day, they are still his base rockets. So for some edge cases like that, that's how you determine it. Anyways, moving on to the last and quote-unquote new item, but not really, in the item shop is Guardian, which has a new updated icon. This item now scales up to 45% and also got a price reduction down to 250, so this is much stronger than it was on the PTS. And you'll notice, well, hey, look at me. I'm playing Octavia. I can buy this item. What's up with that? Well, I have Commander's Shield passive, and if I buy Guardian, boom, boom, boom.
Looks like HQ came through.
Doesn't work. Wait a minute. Evil Mojo, Evil Mojo Jojo. What if I re-equip it? What if I do this? Do, and then do. Hey! Shooting range bug. So yes, it will indeed work on characters with shields that it didn't work on before, such as Octavia with her Commander's Shield passive, as well as any sort of shield card that you generate from characters like Rom, Imani, etc. So yeah, Guardian is now much more accessible than it's ever been, and it also has a direct synergy with Sentinel. That's right, it increases the shield health you get from Sentinel as well. If we were to max this out and then get a kill, let me quickly deplete my shield here real quick, just to show you. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, look at that. That's a lot of HP right there. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Nice little synergy. Also, I'm sure you noticed something about the new item store, right? Where's Illuminate? Oh my gosh. Well, that's been changed as well, so it is no longer an item. Instead, the passive range at which you can see stealth characters has increased from 15 up to 40 units. So this is basically like having Illuminate 1.5 in your base kit. You don't need to buy the item anymore, but you can no longer achieve the power that was Illuminate 3. So it's a bit of a trade-off and a bit of a standardization of stealth, where now you just have one fixed radius. Stealth characters can get used to it and play around it a bit more consistently now. But yeah, it is a very interesting interaction indeed. There's one new item in the utility category, and that is Hoard. This item will allow you to gain 10 credits up to every 5 seconds, and also gain up to 15 credits on getting an elimination. So this is a way to spend money to make more money. It is ridiculously cheap, but it does take up one of your 4 limited item slots. So the general strategy with this item is, if you're going for really expensive items, it can be helpful to max those items out quicker, like say Chronos, Armor Plating, Bloodbath. But if you're going for some of the cheaper items, it's best to skip this item because, well, hey, it's taken up an item slot and you don't need that many credits. So, very interesting item. Next up, we have Meditation, which is the brand new item in the green category. This will allow you to heal for up to 7.5% of your max health every quarter of a second when out of combat, or basically 30% of your max health every second, which is really, really nice. This item is situational. It really helps some playstyles. For example, it's really good on Yagoroth. It's actually surprisingly good on Lilith, and it's also good on flanks who want to hide in the enemy's backline and recharge their health real quickly before going in for another kill. So there are some circumstances where you'd buy this item, outside of the obvious one, which is where your healer sucks, and you don't trust them, and you just want to heal out of combat. So, pretty nice item. Veteran also, by the way, it's noteworthy, got a slight scaling boost, up to 21% now, which is pretty crazy. Then we have Bloodbath, which is technically a new item, but also not really. It's just a heavily reworked form of kill to heal. So this makes it so that kills heal you, and eliminations heal you and the ally who got the kill for up to 900 health. Notice, it now gets affected by anti-healing again. So you will get cauterized with this item. But it is an interesting item because you can buy this, and then if someone else gets a kill, you will be able to heal them, as long as you got an assist. So this can be interesting on champions who get a lot of assists, such as Subservience Rom or Genos. So just keep that in mind. Last, we get to the red items, where there is really only one major change, and that is to Trigger Scent. This is a brand new item. And this item will increase your damage dealt by up to 15% for 5 seconds after getting an elimination, and it is 250 credits a pop, so the second most expensive item in the red category now. And this item does not stack on itself, so if we get 2 kills here, boom, 477, still 477, so it doesn't stack, it just refreshes the duration if you get multiple kills in quick succession, meaning this item isn't as scary as we thought it would be, thank goodness for that. But yeah, it is also another new item, which is pretty cool to see. Champion balance now. Caspian got a lot of nerfs, including ammo nerfs to measured cadence, his regular pistol, and his max ammo count, and it's got some heft, got a range reduction as well, so nerfs to both talents. And you'll also see that Rogue's tempo no longer stuns. It only slows for 40% for 2 seconds, and it does 600 damage instead of 700. His ultimate is also weaker, lasts for less amount of time, and does less damage. Still pretty scary, though. Kasumi got some pretty nice buffs, starting with the removal of her reveal passive. She no longer reveals herself to anyone who has a curse stack on them, meaning Ying can't see me if I go behind this wall. So that's pretty nice. Also, Body and Soul got a bit of a power shift. It lost a little bit of damage reduction, down to 60%, for a 500% jump height increase, meaning Kasumi now has some well-needed vertical mobility for a flank. Also, Spirit Traps will no longer detonate behind or around walls, giving them some improved reliability in circumstances where enemies were hiding behind a corner. Spirit Bombs right here, it would blow up anyways and do absolutely nothing, so that's pretty nice as well. Lastly, Unfinished Business got a power shift as well, meaning it actually shifted some power into a card. So the talent itself no longer increases the duration of Body and Soul. However, if you go into your loadout and you check out Soul Siphon, this card now has much improved scaling, and if you run this card at level 5, you will get that 1 second back. Khan's ultimate got a quality of life increase that's practically not noticeable. It's a cylinder instead of a beam. Notice the difference? I don't. Koga got a nice buff to Adrenaline Junkie. It's still a net nerf from where it was 2 patches ago, but it now only requires 120 damage to be dealt with your submachine guns to generate 1 energy instead of 160. Also, the Dragon Stance got some really nice buffs. So, it now gives you a 25% increased movement speed bonus, but also, it will allow you to pierce through targets, giving this damage a bit of extra utility when they're in some tight hallways, or, you know, you just got a bunch of clumped up stuff on your screen. So, pretty nice buffs to Koga all around. Leon got some pretty nice buffs, including a health buff. She now has 2,150 HP instead of 2,000, and she also does more damage and has better effective range, meaning she does 450 damage now on every weapon shot. This does not affect her auto-aim. This is still 400, and it also does not affect her presence. So it's just a rifle buff, meaning it actually scales even better with precision now. So, yeah, pretty interesting. Omen's card More got an interesting change. It now does 20% increased damage at every single level, but the higher the level, the lighter the ammo penalties. So if you run it at level 5, you now only decrease your max ammo by 6. If you have it at level 1, you decrease your maximum ammo by 10. So interesting change to the card. Overall, less damage, I think, than some of the players who would run it at level 4 or 5. If you're up close, though, I mean, that is still a pretty quick kill, but yeah, 4 bullets. And it's a shotgun. Oh boy. Rom got a very small buff. His Soul Harvest now has a 10-second cooldown instead of a 12-second cooldown, so you can get that sustain going slightly faster now. 7 got a lot of changes this update, but the biggest one is probably to Overcharged. All of the penalties have been removed from Overcharged. It is now just a talent that gives you the ability to grapple enemies to use, so this is a massive buff. Spring-Loaded also got a slight nerf. The cooldown reduction has been removed, but the distance traveled has been increased. So yeah, check out Overcharged. Wha-bam! Come here, Vicky! Oh yeah, and now I can grapple away. That's back, baby. Also, Burst Mode is back up to 150 damage, Mag Dump now has far improved range, and Automatic Mode does more damage but has worse range, so lots of changes to his weapon as well. Lastly, the Knight got slightly improved scaling up to 2 seconds at level 5, and Terror also got slightly reduced scaling, now down to 17% at level 5. Skye also got a nerf to her damage output from Wrist Crossbow, doing 115 damage now. You can still one-clip, but it's going to be a lot tighter now, and with damage reduction items, you probably won't be one-clipping anymore. Terminus got a pretty nice buff to his Power Siphon. So if we just drain this here, and then we shoot the Calamity Blasts, you'll notice that it recharges a lot more quickly than it did before. And now the Silver Recharge has come into effect because the effect wore off. That's because Calamity Blasts now increase the rate at which you recharge your Siphon by 25% per Calamity Blast, up to 125%, because you have the, of course, the regular Calamity Blast, but then you have the 4 additional charges that you can potentially build up. So, this leads to Terminus having much more Power Siphon uptime overall. It's a pretty huge buff, and even with just the 1 Calamity Blast, you can get up to 50% recharge rate, because check this out. You shoot 1 blast, 2 seconds later, shoot another blast. For 2 seconds, you have 50% increased recharge rate, and you can maintain that as long as you keep hitting the enemies. So, really, really nice buff for Term. Tyra got a nerf to Hunting Party. Hunting Party now only has 1 mark, but it still grants the bonus damage to allies. So it's still a very potent mark, but it's going to have a lot less uptime overall, and you're going to have to be really careful with who you put it on, especially when enemies are able to cleanse your mark. Vora got a bit of a power shift to her weapon damage, so it now is more heavily scaled on the burst rather than the damage over time. As you can see, we now do 300 on a medium, 200 on a light, and 600 on a heavy attack, but the damage over time is now just 100 for every single attack. So, you are a bit burstier now with Vora, but one thing to keep in mind is that the math actually works out to make this a DPS decrease rather than a DPS increase. It's just that because you have burst now, you are technically more likely to kill someone before they kill you. Because sometimes you'd run into circumstances with Vora where, well, you would die, and then the DOT would finally catch up to the target and kill them. Now, there's less of a chance of that happening, but you still get the bonus of being able to see enemies through walls with the DOT numbers. So, Willow got a pretty huge Blast Flower buff, so the scaling of this is now 100 per shot, and it stacks up to 4 times now, meaning you can get 900 damage per shot, and that is a pretty huge amount of DPS. You still have to ramp it up, but still a pretty huge buff nonetheless. Sadly though, not a buff to any of her other talents. And finally we get to Ying, who's had a change to her ultimate. Her ultimate no longer has any form of true healing. It's back to just 600 regular healing per second. But you are now able to basically cleanse debuffs as soon as you press the ultimate. And you're also able to provide 1 second of crowd control immunity to all allies as soon as the ultimate goes off. So a bit of utility on the ult now, but you no longer have that form of just outright ignoring Cauterize, meaning, well, your teammates will still be kind of killable, won't they? And finally, we have some borders for Season 6. Yes, those are being showcased, actually a little bit early because it's not time to get the borders yet, but these are the borders that you'll be receiving for your rank in Season 6. Very clean, streamlined borders this time around. I'm glad to see numbers back on the ranked frames again, because, well, it helps to really easily distinguish them as ranked frames. Some of the frames from like Season 4 or 5, they don't really even look like ranked frames to me, so yeah, that's pretty nice to see. And yeah, I guess you have 1 extra month to grind for these frames because we're still technically in Season 6. So yeah, that's going to do it for today's update video. Make sure to comment down below what you think about this update, and also make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications because I'm going to be making a ton of content on the brand new update, and you definitely don't want to miss out. But with all that being said, thank you guys for watching. I will see you all next time. Peace out.